His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent Him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. This way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, fa'inna astakal hadith kitabullah wa awtaqa al-ura kalimatu taqwa wa khayrul milali milatu Ibrahim wa khayrul sunani sunatu Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ashraful hadith dhikrullah wa asnu al-kasasi هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوازنوها وشير الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفع وخير الهادي ما أتبع وَشَيْرُ الْأَمَّا أَمَّا الْكَافِ. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the communities is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. The best acts are ones that yield benefits. The best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah yahmuru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba wa yanha anil fahsha'i wal munkari wal baghi ya'idukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يَرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah in His plan willeth to guide, He opens their breasts to Islam. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of submission to Allah, or in the state of Islam, or as a Muslim. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. Asama, which the word atasimu comes from, in the olden days it stood for the capital city or fortified city. So what the Quran is saying, when it says wa'atasimu, it means fortify your religion, secure your religion, protect your religion, defend your religion. Wa'atasimu bihablillahi, by the rope, the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided. Because it says Jami'an. Jami'an, like Yawm al-Jum'ah, you know, a closed fist, Jam al-Yad. So the word Jam al-Yad stands for a closed fist, not an open fist. And if you notice all around the world, the symbol for struggle is a closed fist. Jam al-Yad. Wa'tasimu bihablillahi jamiyan. All together. Not as one, not as individuals, but fortifying to protect your religion. Secure yourself and others' religion by protecting the fortified situation which is Islam. And be not divided amongst yourself. Kuntum khayra umatin ukrijat lil nasi tamuruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best peoples raised up for mankind. Because you enjoin the right and you forbid the wrong and you trust in Allah. Kuntum khayra umatin ukrijat lil nasi. Karaja or ukrijat, that's an exit sign over there. If you were in an Arabic country, it would say karaj, exit. Ukrijat comes from that word, to exit. But this word has many levels of death. Ukrijat lil nas means that you are the best people ever evolved or raised up for mankind. Why? Because you exited Jahiliyyah, entered Islam, and that made you the best peoples ever raised up by Allah for mankind. If you practicing your religion, if you practicing your deen, then you are part of the, when it says khuntum khayra umatin, you are the best of the khayra ummah. You are the best part of the ummah, or you're the best community. But that's a title that's earned. It's not just, you just get it because, well, I have accepted Islam. Yes, but the Quran says, the desert Arabs say we believe, right? And then Allah says, don't say you believe, say aslama. You have submitted yourself to the authority of Islam, but you are not a believer. Right? So you are technically a Muslim, but a movement is higher, more excellent, right? In reality. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين محمدين النبي الأمة وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، يقول الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقد مكروا مكرهم وإن الله مكرهم وإن كان مكرهم لتزول منه الجبال فلا تحسبن الله مخلفا وحده رسوله إن الله عزيز ذو انتقام. Mighty indeed were the plots which they made but their plots were well within the sight of Allah, even though they were that may shake the hills. So Makr is a plan or a scheme. It could be a big plot against someone or somebody. But this ayat is very clear that this plot, this Makr, this scheme, this device is so big that it relates to what we can see in the world, a global war against Islam. We can see that there is a global war on Islam, and all our writings talked about it from decades ago. It seems like we may be the only one in D.C. or America that really understands that there is a global, dedicated, specific, targeted war against Islam. The reason I say that, if you go around to, this is the Christmas period, and the Muslims have a lot of their programs during this time. And if you went and visited those programs and you listened to the speakers and the educators and the pontificators in those programs, you would not think there was a global war on Islam. And that global war on Islam takes place in the exact arena, in the exact countries from which the people that's having all those programs come from. But alhamdulillah, we're somewhat, let's call it luck. Because Makr, scheme, a plot, or a device is so great. Tazula means that they planned a scheme that is so in-depth, so calculated, so well executed, that if it finishes, that Islam would vanish. The translations say it would shake the hills. That's big enough. But in Arabic, Tazula means that, like Islam, it would vanish. Right? Whatever they're scheming against, whatever they're plotting against, if that thing is dealt with according to their plan, then that thing, that reality, would vanish. So in Islam, when you look all around the world, Saudi Arabia is spending its money to destroy Yemen. Oh, it's unbelievable. The Zionist state trying to destroy Syria, Lebanon, right? The United States targeting Iran and all of the rest of the countries. Uprising going on in Iraq. The 18-year war going on in Afghanistan. On and on and on. Muslims being killed in Africa by people who are sponsored and developed by Saudi Arabia. Boko Haram and all of those people, they talk about haram, Boko Haram, that following the West is haram. They don't say killing Muslims is haram, right? They say following the West is wrong. You know why? Because they're following the edict, they're following the design, they're following the orders that come out of Washington, D.C., out of Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, right? And out of Tel Aviv in the Zionist state. Their leaders, their developers. If you were to look at 90% of the problems that are going on in the Muslim world, there's no solution right now because why? Because they're there stirring up fitna, like they're in our neighborhood. You can't never get nothing going. Why? Because they infiltrate your organization. If you remember the Wall Street movement, they infiltrated them. all over the country. In Dallas, they opened up the jail system. They let the pedophiles, they let the dope fiends, they let everybody go down and join the Wall Street movement. So people looked up and said, all these Wall Street people, why, they're pedophiles and they're criminals. Yeah, because the police that's trying to destroy the Wall Street movement open up the jails and send everybody down there. That's why you don't have no Black Lives Matter. If you have a Black Lives Matter, it's not the people in Ferguson, right? It's some other people. You punch a button and you'll see other people's face there. Even the demonstration they had in D.C. for Black Lives Matter. We wasn't going to go down there, but then we heard on WPFW, let them speak, let them speak. You know who they was talking about? The people from Ferguson, the people that started all of this. So therefore, the people that started this whole thing, they was not going to allow them to speak. They was going to let Joe Madison speak. What's the other Negro with the wavy hat, old preacher from New York? Y'all know who I'm talking about. When you get a little, you forget things. Like, I do know this is a table, a lectern. But they was going to let all them clowns speak. And so the crowd was saying, let them speak. Let them speak. Who was they talking about? The people from Ferguson that was standing up to lead the movement. So then we went down there. Okay. We couldn't talk about all the plans and schemes that they have to destroy Islam. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, right in the ayat next to that, never think that Allah would fail his messenger in his promise. For Allah is exalted in power, Lord of retribution. Never think that these people are going to be successful. The Hadith and the Quran says there will always be a Jama'ah, a group of people standing for what's right. Therefore, there may be periods, historical periods, when the number of people standing for truth and justice might be small. Other times it might be great. But there will always be a group of people in Islam standing for those things that are right, those things that are just, and those things that are very important to us. Now, there's a formula for success. The Quran has its own formula for success. And so, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu idha lakitum fiyatan fathbutu wadhkurullaha kathiran la'alakum tuflihun. O you believe, when you meet a party, stand firm and remember Allah much, that you may attain success. Sophia is a party or a group of people. When you exist within that group of people that's going out to challenge the enemies of Islam, it basically says stand firm. Thabata means to stand firm with discipline, with self-control. That means you manipulate and you control yourself, and that control relates to firmness, discipline, endurance. You're able to last a long time. So you're able to stand up for truth and justice, not only unified, but for a long period of time. Whatever that period is, whatever level of endurance that it's going to take. Remember Allah, and remember Allah kathiran means alone and a lot. Remember Allah much. So this remembrance of Allah means that, and remember Allah much that you may attain success. Fathbutu wadhkurullaha kathiran la'alakum tuflihun. Success. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Come to prayer, come to success. Falah. This word means success. So we should, if we want to be successful in our endeavor, what should we do? Remember Allah. How often? A whole lot. Remember Allah kathiran. A long time, constantly, time after time, day after day, if you want to be successful. So success is tied not to you as a Negro or African American, or the people said this and the people said that. No, your success in the long run depends on listening to, calling on, and responding to Allah's call. Then it goes on to say, وَأَطِيعُوا وَرَسُولُهُ وَلَا تَنَازَّعُوا فَتَفْشَلُوا وَتَذْهَبَ رِيحُكُمْ وَاصْبِرُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. And obey Allah. Atiu means to obey, to listen, to respond to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then it says, La tanazzau. Do not wrangle, do not quarrel, and do not dispute. Fatashalu. First of all, if you fall into wrangling and disputing, what's going to happen? Fatashalu, you lose heart. Become despair. But the word that they're using here, Allah is saying re. It means wind. Rihukum. Their wind will what? Go out of the sails. If you fall into dispute and you dishonor each other and you begin to quarrel with each other, all your strength will go away. So it says, Wasbiru, have patience, have discipline, have self-control, have endurance. The same as tabatha. Those are the necessary qualities for success. Allah have given us in a couple of ayats, the formula for success. First of all, when you meet an enemy, can you say that we're not facing an enemy now? Can you say that the world is not trying, the Western world is not trying to destroy Islam? In conjunction with the Zionists, in conjunction with Saudi Arabia, who's destroying Yemen. Why nobody say anything about Saudi Arabia bombing Yemen? Why? You know why? It's the same as nobody says anything about what they do in Oakland with us. You know why? Those guys are on the American, the Zionist, and the Israeli team. They can do what they want. They can do anything that they want. They're under the protection of Shaitan, right? But now, inshallah, we're under the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So we have a formula for success, right? Now, if we don't follow our formula, they might be successful. What's our formula? When you meet an enemy, thabata, be firm, stand firm with discipline, with self-control. Face your enemy, right? Atiu Allah wa Rasuluhu, and call on Allah much, right? Or follow Allah, listen to Allah, respond to Allah much. Right? That you may be falah, successful. Remember? Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Come to prayer, come to success. So if we do those things, this is a formula for success. The formula has always been the same. To call on Allah and to remember Allah much. When we follow the formula, we are always successful, right? Historically, when we follow that formula, when the Muslims always were unified, disciplined, focused, and self-control, they always won. I don't mean they won every little battle, but they won the war. Whatever war it was, they won. And in those days, after the Khulafah Rashidun, we had dictators and kings and all of that. Technically, they were Muslim. Do you know the difference between those sultans in those old days than the kings now? At least they was fighting for themselves. They said, we taking all this for the Muslims and for ourselves. But now, the enemies, the Muslims, fight on behalf of the West. The Saudis don't say, yeah, we're going to secure all this here, and we're going to blah, 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 blah. No, they going to say, we secure the interests of the United States of America. And we do it with weapons that come from them. We are not independent of them. We are willing servants of those people, right? And when you look in the Middle East, if you look at Palestine, that's the biggest tragedy in the world. Well, Yemen and all of it. But Palestine been happening longer. Those people have been given permission to fight. Why? Because they've been oppressed and they've been exiled or moved from their land. So permission for them to fight has been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if the good people didn't check the bad people, right? Many churches, mosques, synagogues, religious institutions where Allah's name is remembered would be pulled down. And that's what the Quran says. They got permission to fight. But they don't call American terror. Can you imagine what America does to people around the world? It says we have the right to do what we want to anybody. We don't like Venezuela, so therefore we're going to sanction it. We don't like North Korea. We don't like nothing y'all do. We don't like Iran. We don't like Hezbollah. We don't like none of y'all. It ain't none of their business, but they sanction us based on their interests. Isn't that right? And here we are as the Ummah. Are we standing up for our people inside of America? Are we standing up inside and saying, no, 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 those are our home folks over there? And it's our duty to be out there jumping up and down in a focused way every day and all day. Because the Quran tells us stand up for justice. Whether it's against your family, your friends, or what have you, the rich or the poor, stand up. Qawamana bil qist, which qist is justice, but it's a little bit, if you can get anything higher than justice, that's it. Because justice is balance and equilibrium. Do we have balance in the world today? Do we have equilibrium in the world? What do all the statistics say? They say people got as much money as one half of the world. I don't know what it is. Some silly thing. Y'all all heard that? Can you imagine? Is that balance? Could you drive your car, your tire, with that type of balance? It would go plop, 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 right? With all the air on one side of the tire and all the metal on one side of the tire, your whole car would shake to death just going one block. Isn't that right? What about this great world we live in? If all of the wealth, all the power, and all the shift begins to shift to one side, or up at the top instead of down at the bottom, what's going to happen? We are going to have, right, an imbalance. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the earth and created the whole universe with mizan, with balance. I'm going to go on here. Let's see. So, now, we have a special mission here. But before we go there, just let's remind ourselves. And obey Allah and His Messenger. And do not wrangle. Then you will lose heart. And your spirit will go away. And persevere. Verily Allah is with those who persevere. Persevere is to go for the long run. To have discipline. To have self-control. In closing, we just want to say that this holiday spirit that everybody have, we should have some of it for ourselves and our community. Do you know that they teach subjects on self-image psychology and self-esteem? And that means that people operate basically off the picture that they have of themselves. It's self-image. There's a lot to do with imagination too. How you imagine yourself. The thing with those various identities, will we respond to the picture that they give us of Islam and Muslims? Terrorists, subversive, all of those names, right? Will we respond to that picture? Will we act on that picture? Or will we respond to our vision that is a Quranic vision, that is a vision coming from Hadith, that tell us, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nasi. You are the best people ever raised up for mankind. Okay, will we respond to the terrorist vision? To the bomber vision? That's what they try to give us. This is what you are. They're telling us you are this. Now, remember that thermostat right back there on the wall. It sets the temperature in here. When it needs a little heat, like it do now, then what it would do, I know the sisters get cold quicker than we do. And plus I'm standing up, so I know if I'm getting a little chilly, they freezing to death, sitting down on the floor. You know where heat rises. But anyway, if that thing this is designed to regulate the temperature in this room, right? The picture that you have of yourself, how you see yourself, determines your behavior in life. Let me go over that again. Just like that thermostat regulates the temperature, develops a comfort zone, right? How you see yourself, self-esteem, how you weigh and measure yourself, right? Along with your vision determines where you're going to head in life, what you're going to do in life. It's setting the stage. If you see yourself as a terrorist, well, you just about finished. But if you see yourself as kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nasi ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar. If you see yourself that way as the best ummah, the best section of people, the best of peoples raised up for mankind. If you see that way, then you're going to start acting that way. That's where you're going to start pointing yourself in that direction. Why? Because the vision has to do with identity. Yeah. How you see yourself has to do with your identity. Right? How I see myself. Our children do very good, mainly in our schools sometimes. They do very well. Sometimes they go out and they make a big impact All the children that went to our school here, I'm telling you, they all in the top, right? They all in the top. I said, man, all of y'all? You know why? It's not only the teachers, but it was the environment. The kids liked going to school. They would rather stay here than go home. We'd have to say, well, it's time for y'all to go. They like school. If they like school, you don't have to worry about them getting good grades because they like where they are, right? Kids playing out there. If it was snowing, white Christmas stuff, right? You wouldn't have to, your kids, the little ones, they'd be out there playing till their hands is blue and, you know what I mean, no blood in their face, but they having a good time. You have to call them inside. Right? Snot running down their nose because they're having a good time. Isn't that right? When they're having a good time, when you're having fun, you don't have to, your time goes fast, everything is smooth. Therefore, if school was fun for them, if they enjoyed school, you don't have to worry about their grades because they like doing what they do at school, right? They had a good environment. All right. So your vision, your picture of yourself is very important. How you see yourself. Esteem, self-esteem. Esteem means to weigh and to measure. How you weigh and measure yourself. Right? And then remember the dua and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in Hadith Qudsi, I, Allah, am to the believer is what he expects of me. What he expects of me. You know, they did a study in Oakland, 1968. Dr. Rosenthal was his name. They did a study on expectation. So they took a group of teachers from the Oakland Unified School District, and they told them teachers why you're the best teachers in the whole Oakland School District, and y'all got abilities beyond most everybody else. Then they gave them the students, and the students, they told them, they said, these are the best students in Oakland. And they all put them together. Within 1 year, those students had progressed 3 grade years in 1 year. So when they came back and told the teachers, they said, your students, on average, have progressed 3 years in 1 year. They said, well, you gave us the best students, so that's normal. They said, no, we didn't give you the best students. We picked their name out of a hat. Then they said, well, we were best teachers, so automatically we were the best teachers. They said, no, y'all wasn't the best teachers. We picked y'all's name out of a hat too. What was it? It was expectation. Not the student, they didn't know nothing about it. The teachers was the only ones that was told that they the best in this and the best in that. So every time a student stumbled along, like most of us do, what you talking about? Well, anyway, they would say, well, I'm the best teacher. One of the best teachers, and that's one of the smartest students. He's got to. So they would find a way to elevate. You see what I mean? They'd find a way. Why? Because they're the best. The student don't know, but the teachers, what? That's one of the best students in the city. He got to get this little simple algebra and whatever else they was teaching. And they got it because of expectation. That's one of the reasons our school was so successful, because the teachers expected so much out of the students that they might just stroll right along like they got. Not only expected, but I like being in school. Now I know me and you, we used to love school too. Boy, we just couldn't wait to get to school. That's what I remember. They would lie and say we was always cutting school and running off around. But we was really trying to get to school. That's what we was trying to do, what I heard. Anyway, this is why the hadith say, hadith Qudsi. Hadith Qudsi is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking, but it is not for in Quran. Hadith Qudsi means a holy, a special hadith. So the hadith says, I, Allah, am to the believer as he expects of me. Can you believe that? You got to remember now. Suppose we don't expect, oh Allah, I need a job, right? Need a new house. Allah, can you help me with that? You know what I mean? Little job, little house, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, right? And most of the time, you get it. What about global peace and harmony? What if about that Allah's name would reign supreme on earth? What about the reestablishment, right, of what? The mizan, the balance on earth. What about the global unity of the human family? What about developing people where they go out and help people instead of go out and kill people? Can you imagine? They got armies where they teach people how to kill other people. Now that don't sound bad, but it's actually stupid. That you got people and you teach just these guys, well, we got to teach them to kill because somebody go, that's because you too stupid to work with harmony with other people. That's the politicians. They so stupid, they got a program designed to get me and you killed. So they teach me and our children to go out and kill people instead of help people. This is modern times. Why we don't go around helping people? Why we should go around killing? The police should help old ladies across the street and do all that kind of stuff, right? Oh, can I help you? Oh, Mr. Negro, where you headed? Well, I was going up the street. Well, let me give you a ride up there. And the police come. Yeah, come on, I'm just going. You're just going up there a few blocks. That's what the police ought to be doing. They shouldn't be shooting down Negroes. But in 170 years, they haven't figured out no program. Since slavery time, they have not figured out any program to protect the black community from the ravages of police departments. So police departments all over America continue to shoot Negroes. Now you know in slavery they didn't shoot Negroes because they was property. But after slavery, hey, a few lynchings here and there and hey, off we go. Again, your vision that you have, we're going to have to stuff this vision down these people's throats. Because a lot of people don't want to hear. But remember, we're not alone in this. There's a lot of people in the world that's feeling like we do. There's a lot of people that want to see the world a better place. There's a lot of people that know that the human being has a lot of basic goods and they want to develop the good inside the human being. There are millions of people like that. But the satanic system is controlling the world, therefore they're going to develop their system. That's the only problem, is shaitan. So now if we develop good people, enough of us, it will overpower the bad people. That's what the Quran said, that if the good people don't check the bad people, there would be much turmoil in the land. That's what the Quran said. So it's not a new message. It's the same one we've been getting all along. Okay, in closing, vision, identity, values, all those things that preceded. Your vision of yourself, your vision of the environment, your vision of the world. 2020 vision, what does it look like right now? What do we need to do to fix things? We'll talk about that another time, but it's institutions. If they have fitness institutions, we have to have harmonious institutions. So we have to have. It's a necessity. Your values and abilities or capabilities also go along with that. If you feel like I am able, I'll do it. Now here's the dilemma. The people that's able are not usually willing to make global change, right? They're not. They're the rich, powerful. They want to keep things like they are. The rich get rich and the poor get poor. That's the general rule, right? So therefore, those people who are able are not willing to make the change. Those people that are willing to make the change are not usually wealthy enough, powerful enough, and organized enough. So you can see our mission developing out of the circumstances under which we're living. Our mission, our 2020 vision, are developed basically out of the environmental circumstances in which we're living in. And that's our behavior. Coming through all of that. And I'll close with this. We have our feeling here is that we follow Quran. This is automatic. We follow the Sunnah, the Hadith. Right? We follow, or we study history. We study those things. And we study history because the Quran says travel in the earth, right, and see what was the end of those before you. Travel in the earth that you may receive knowledge. Then it goes on to say, we use our experience, our own experience in the world that we're living in 2020, right? The world in which we live in right now. Our experience in history, people talk about it, but they're not paying attention to it. Not only are the people not paying attention to it, they're not paying attention to it because of us. Do you know one of the most loved group of people in the world is Negroes? You didn't know that, did you? They tell you that nobody like you but us, the white man say. Do you know that everybody almost in the world sympathizes and follows? So I don't care whether it's soul music. After a while, you're going to have jazz and soul all over the world. Isn't that right? And everybody going to like it. From Denmark to Sweden, right? To back to Africa where it come from. Everybody going to like it. Right? 40 years ago, Negroes started rapping. And they started rapping. You had everybody, Vanilla Ice, can you imagine? All the people. You have Russians rap. And now you got hip hop. Where do they have hip hop? Everywhere. Right? They ain't saying nothing. They ought to go back to rap, early rap, because it was conscious. I'm not against modernism, but I don't know what these Negroes are talking about nowadays. The words they use, the mentality that you develop, listen to that, let's call it crap. It's basic insanity. Out of every 100 sides, maybe 2 of them are inspirational, right? They got a couple of Muslims doing a pretty good job. But the world, wherever I went, I don't care. Whether it's South Africa, whether it's South America. You know, when I was a big cocaine smuggler, and I lived in Colombia, I used to go to the gym every day. You know what they said to me at the gym? They said, brother, sing us a song. I said, I'm a dope dealer. I'm smuggling cocaine to the United States. What are you talking about? But that's what they thought. That's exactly what they thought. You see what I mean? They thought that because that's what they expected. They expected Negroes can sing. And Negroes can dance. course, that was 50 years ago. But they thought that because it wasn't like an insult, you know. The guy that was saying it was Mr. Columbia, you know, muscles all sticking out his. He was a friend of mine. He was just saying that because that's what he expected out of me. I'm an African American from the USA. I'm working out at the gym. It didn't occur to him that I was smuggling as much blow as I could get my hands on. It didn't occur to him. All that occurred to him is I work out at the gym. I know some other Americans there. And, hey, sing us a song. I said, you must be crazy. I said, what are you talking about? That's what they expected out of us. I don't care. Remember when they had, Muhammad Ali had to fight with George Foreman in Africa? And they kept saying something like, boom away Ali, something like that. The people in Africa was for Ali, because he stood for something. George Foreman came off the plane with a big old German Shepherd dog, the man stupid, in the Congo. 10 years ago, them dogs was chewing up Africans, the big German Shepherds, right? The white man was there, and them same dogs was chewing up the people in the Congo. So that George Foreman didn't know, but they knew Ali stood for liberation and freedom and justice, and that he lost his whole historical reality, his money, his wealth, his power base, because he stood up for freedom, right? And I'll close with this. I'm telling you that we have access to everybody in the world. We're just not using it. I could tell you, I'd be going down the streets. I used to be going down the street in Pakistan. That's when I was younger, of course. And there, all the little kids following me. So what's wrong with y'all? I said, what's wrong with y'all? Anyway, they thought I was a cricket player. You know, in the colonies, all the blacks, some of the best cricket players, right, are black. And they thought I was a cricket player. Because in Pakistan, they play some cricket too, because it's an old British colony, right? All over the world. Everybody, all the kids would be following for some reason or another. And they liked us. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, the people liked us. I'll tell you the last thing I'll say. When I was in Mexico, I took my family. You know, when I was in exile, I lived all over the world. But I lived a lot of area in the Spanish-speaking countries in Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela. So I took my family down there, and my boys was young at that time. Of course, you know how long that was ago. And so all the Mexican women, when we would stop somewhere, they was rubbing on my son's head. They had short haircut, they were rubbing. And so my wife was mad, you know why? Because she said, you talking about you was in exile down here and having it bad, and they could tell what the women was rubbing my son's head and giggling and laughing, so they said, had to be doing the same thing to you because you're a big model of them. You know what I mean? I said, no, I was just miserable down here running around. You know, I was missing y'all to death. But I messed around and happened to take them to one of the places that I had been in exile in. People like us. You don't find nobody but these Europeans and the Zionists and others talking about us. Them niggas ain't no good, they ain't got no sense. Right? It's this system. But nobody believes that anywhere in the world. So what we're saying, it's holiday season, brothers and sisters, let's make our contribution to the world. This is not a Negro thing anymore. This is a global Islamic perspective. That's why Allah allowed us to come to Islam. Oh Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and negligence. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us with what is lawful, keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from want of what is decisive. Ameen.